Keynesians, that's what the Keynesians have, brainwashed you into believing. And the fact of the matter is what they do actually makes it worse. And that we don't need fiscal and monetary policy to manage shocks. We actually need a sound system, and there won't be as many shocks, if any, because people won't get out over their skis. We won't have this serial bubble blowing that's taking place right now.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree. Okay. Now, Jeff Booth, Price Tomorrow, probably one of the
Yeah.
top 10 books, along with yours.
Yeah. No, one of the best books out there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like I can think of, I'm pretty sure somebody's posted about this, but the Bible and Bitcoin, Ellen Armstrong, Lynn,
Well, yeah.
Safe, yours, Price Tomorrow, definitely one of them. But with Jeff Booth, he touches on, like I think right out of the gate in the second part of the book where you start talking about the solution, you're touching on the same thing that Jeff's book.
Yeah, a lot of that came from Jeff's thinking. I mean, we're trying to run an expansive, growth-oriented, deficit-oriented monetary system on top of a deflationary world. And that's just a fundamental conflict. And yeah, when you read the second half of the book, you'll see there's a lot of Jeff in there where he just talk about how deflation, we have to kill the Keynesian notion that we need inflation for the economy to function. Right. I mean, that's wrong. We just, the economy functioning perfectly well from 1789 to, well into the 1920s when we kind of first abandoned the gold standard. There were two large periods of deflation, and the living standards in this country went up enormously during those deflationary periods, and we had real growth. And that's the other thing. What we're focusing on is growth, and really in a resource-limited planet, growth isn't the thing to focus on because, taken to infinity, take to the end point, there's a fixed number of resources, right? So the issue really is for human well-being is efficiency. How do we get more output for less input? And that's productivity. And so the way you get productivity is you have the price of capital be set correctly. The price of capital is the interest rate. And what we've got is we've got a system where it's like the Politburo is setting the price of grain. They're going to have too much or too little grain because they don't know what the market says. So the price of capital, the interest rate should be set at the point at which savings and investment, demand for investment opportunities balances with savings at some price. That's the interest rate. That's what it should be. And the market will tell us what it is. And so if people save a lot more and there's excess savings, well then, and then interest rates will come down because there's a lot of supply of money. And, but if people have, a ton of good projects, then, they demand a lot of money, well, then interest rates will go up and those projects will face a higher hurdle rate that they need to clear in order for somebody to be willing to make the investment in that new project. And so it's a different model. It's a different way of thinking. It's so funny that this is supposed to be the land of the free market, the land of, I don't know, just, let the market do its thing, right? I mean, there are a lot of people, even Keynesians, who would say, let the market do its thing. Okay, fine. So why don't you apply that to the cost of money? Because there's a demand for money and there's a supply of money. Why don't we just let them balance, right? And then why don't we let the market tell us what the interest rate should be? That's what should happen, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But instead, we've got these, 12 people sitting at a big table on Constitution Avenue in Washington, D.C., and and they're extreme, right? I mean, at the high end, they've set the price of money as high as 20%, which is crazy, and at the low end, they've set the price of money down as low as 0%, which is also crazy, And so there's a happy medium, and the market will find it, and it'll go up and down, based on trends and other things, but it won't be so incredibly zigzag, out of control. It'll be much fairer, because the people who have control of that price, they game it. They know when it's going one way. They know what's going to happen next, and so they can game it. And the average person doesn't know how to do that.
Why are Keynesians then so petrified of deflation? Like, is it a misunderstanding of deflation is the natural outcome of technology, or is it because deflation is a symptom of failure, like maybe the economy's failing?
I think what they've done is they've gotten in bed with the devil, which is the government. And so, I mean, Keynesian economists and Keynesians and monetary policymakers wouldn't really be necessary in a sound money system. It would just kind of run itself. But if you suddenly convince the world that you're necessary, i.e. that you can do a better job by pushing rates up and bringing them down and backstopping the banks and doing all the things they theoretically say they do, which they do, but they mess it up. You have prestige, right? I mean, Alan Greenspan, I said this in the book, and later in the book you'll read it. Yeah, he was at some luncheon with somebody I know, and he said something along the lines of, "Yeah, being in control of this money. I mean, it's a very powerful thing. It's a really heady experience, right?" And so,
Hmm.
the government people like it because they get all their projects paid for, and they get rich in the process because they know how the thing's operating. And the economists like it because it makes them seem important and powerful, and they get to write books and give speeches and proselytize on how it all works. And so it's kind of an intellectual protection racket too. That